the governor is speaking. Let's cut across to listen in.
Press conference, third in this financial year 2025-26. I welcome Governor Shri Sanjay Malhotra, Deputy Governor Shri M. Rajeshwar Rao, Shri T. Ravi Shankar, Shri Swaminathan J. and Dr. Poonam Gupta. I also welcome Executive Directors Dr. Rajiv Ranjan and Dr. Ajit Joshi, as also our other colleagues from Reserve Bank. Before we begin, a few housekeeping announcements. I will request media friends here present here to switch off their mobiles or keep them on silent. Further, please restrict to one question per person. It is very important so that everybody gets a chance to ask. While asking the question, you please switch on the mic in front of you so that others who are logged on to this or listening to this streaming, they are able to hear. And once you are done, please switch it off. And sir, there are 23 participants from media today. And with your permission, I'll start taking the names.
Yes, please.
So I'll request Ms. Lata to ask her question.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Governor. You have given the growth forecast at 6.5, retained it, and given the forward forecast at 6.6. How much of the tariff impact have you factored in? Is there a lack of clarity on tariffs and therefore nothing is factored? And hence, if the tariffs stay or even increase, is there a likelihood that you will be lowering it? I'm asking you particularly because that phrase, very limited space for monetary easing, is absent in the entire speech. So if you lower, will that phrase reappear? Or will that phrase have no chance of appearing because the year ahead inflation is 4.9?
Yeah, so first of all on growth, you are very well aware that we had already reduced our forecast, which was earlier 6.7% to 6.5%. So some of the global uncertainties have already been factored in the revised growth forecast. However, there is still a lot of uncertainty, as was also mentioned in my statement, and it's really very difficult to predict as to what the impact will be. Going forward, as we have mentioned, we will maintain a very, very close vigil on the incoming data and take a call. As of now, we do not have sufficient data to revise our GDP forecasts. As to your question on the absence of the word or the phrase very limited space, that was in the context when we moved from accommodative to neutral. We are continuing in neutral, and so that's why you don't find a mention of that in this statement.
Is it because it is 4.9%? That's why you're saying? Why is that phrase absent? Is it because of high inflation, or is it because we don't know enough about growth?
See, we will continue to monitor our macroeconomic conditions on a policy-to-policy basis and accordingly take a call. So it's all, very, very uncertain. We already did 100 basis point rate cut. The other thing is that monetary policy transmission is still happening. So we will continue. We'll continue to do whatever is required to facilitate good growth while, of course, maintaining price stability.
Thank you, sir. दाहिनी तरफ दूरदर्शन से श्यामा जी अपना प्रश्न पूछें.
Namaskar, sir. Sir, is RBI worried about the fact that these global changes, trade changes, will push up the inflation as the imports will get expensive?
See, if till now, see, first thing is that in India, we are less dependent on the outside insofar as inflation is concerned. And the other thing is that if at all there is an impact, there is also an impact on the growth, on the demand, and that has a reverse impact. We mentioned this, we elaborated this in our monetary policy statement that we made, I think, a couple of months ago, where we highlighted this aspect that it moves in both directions. As of now, we don't see a major impact of this unless, we have retaliatory tariffs and so on and so forth, which I really do not foresee. I request our DG if you would like to add something.
Sure. In addition to what Sir said, let me also remind that our inflation basket, nearly half of it consists of food, which does not get impacted directly by global developments. A significant part consists of non-tradables, which again does not get impacted by global developments. So to that extent, a first-order direct impact of these evolving uncertainties on India's inflation is likely to be very, very limited.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I'll ask Manojit Saha from Business Standard.
Thank you, sir. What has stopped the MPC from, given that you have reduced the inflation forecast to substantially lower to 3.1%, so what has stopped the MPC from a rate cut? Because you have indicated that you will be forward-looking, you will be proactive in interest rate decisions. So what actually stopped MPC from a rate cut? And also, if you can throw some light on whether the monetary policy is effective on pushing loan growth, because loan growth continues to be tepid despite a 100 basis point rate cut.
See, the reasons for maintaining the policy rate are very, very clearly stated in our resolution, which also found a mention in my statement. Let me reiterate those. One, monetary, we did first of all, a front-loaded rate cut, 100 basis points over a short period of 4 months, February to June. Transmission is still happening. Uncertainties still continue. The situation is still evolving. Insofar as inflation is concerned, the projections are more or less, if you discount food, which is very volatile. I think I mentioned it somewhere earlier also that while our headline and food inflation over the last 8-9 years since FIT was introduced has been at 4.9%, the volatility in food prices is of the region of 3% on an average. The deviation, the absolute deviation is 3%, 5.9 plus minus 3% is the average. Whereas that in core is much less, about 1.1% in absolute terms. So the changes that have happened are primarily because of food and not core inflation. Core inflation, in fact, has only gone up slightly from the previous months. So these are the reasons that we have continued to maintain the policy rate. We will keep watching incoming data and evolving outlook of our macroeconomic conditions, and the MPC will accordingly take a view on a policy meeting to meeting, from meeting to meeting. Insofar as the impact of rates is concerned, I have given figures in the statement. It's about 71 basis points on the credit side. On the credit side, bank credit rates till June, within a period of 4 months, 71 basis points, of which about 55 basis points is because of the change in the rate and not because of the change in the mix of the credit loans. So that has happened. And obviously that will certainly, help not only growth in credit, but also it will impact the real economy. As you are all aware, it happens with a lag. This time, while the rates have, of course, come down significantly faster, the impact on the real economy will also start to happen. So there is no reason to believe that this will not have a growth-inducing impact.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have Mr. Mayur Shetty from Times of India.
Thank you, sir. You explained the credit.
The slowdown in credit demand, you said that there is some shift to other financial instruments, but the sectoral figures show that even housing, which typically goes up when rates go down, has slowed down. What do you think is the reason for this?
I think it's important to, first of all, whenever one is looking, it's important to look at data in a, data at a regular basis, at a micro basis, at a month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis. But to extract signals out of that, I think we should be hesitant in extracting signals out of that data. So it is the long-term data that is more relevant to be making, any to get any insights out of it. And on the other hand, I would also like to point out, so these fluctuations will be there. There will be noise, as you are aware, there will be noise. So we have to remove that noise. How do you remove that noise? It becomes very difficult if you are actually looking at data on a month-to-month, day-to-day basis. Having said that, housing credit, I think overall it's doing well. It's doing very well. It may have moderated somewhat, but these are to be expected. There will be, some ups and downs. I think overall housing credit is 14% as we speak, which is very good, which is more than our average credit growth rate of about 10% that we are having this year. And some of the impact, as I mentioned, happens with a lag. We have reduced the rate, so while the reduction in the rates has happened, it translating into credit growth rate, people take their time to. It's a long-term investment. Housing is not a short-term investment. If you go to the market, you buy a consumer durable. It's not like that. It's a long-term investment. So that also has an impact to play over here.
Thank you, sir. अब मैं जी बिजनेस से एकता सूरी को आग्रह करता हूँ कि अपना प्रश्न पूछें.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर. सबसे पहले बधाई सर, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने, पीएम मोदी ने आरबीआई को धन्यवाद किया है कि आपने ग्राम पंचायतों में फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए कैंप लगाए हैं सर, उसके लिए कंग्रेचुलेशन. सर मेरा सवाल ये होने वाला है कि इस बार अगर हम बैंक्स के रिजल्ट्स देखें तो इसमें हमें एनपीए बढ़ता हुआ दिख रहा है, और अगर हम एमएफआई सेगमेंट की बात करें तो वो पिछली बार भी आपने कंसर्न रेज किया था कि उसमें एनपीए बढ़ रहे हैं. उसको लेकर क्या हम किसी तरह की रूल्स नियम सख्त होते हुए देख सकते हैं, खास करके तब जब जो एनबीएफसीज हैं प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर में ये पैसा उठाती हैं, लेकिन मनी लेंडर के जैसे रेट्स बढ़ चुके हैं इनके, तो उसको कर्ब करने के लिए क्या हम रूल्स सख्त होते हुए देख सकते हैं. और दूसरा ये सर कि अगर म्यूल हंटर की बात करें तो बहुत से बैंक्स ने इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिया है, तो अब आम लोगों का पैसा कितना जल्दी वापस आ सकता है, फ्रॉड से गया हुआ पैसा, और कितना सुरक्षित है अब पैसा उनका.
आपने एक तो कई सारे प्रश्न एक साथ पूछ लिए हैं. तो सबसे पहले आपको जो है धन्यवाद. आपने जो बधाई दी है फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन के लिए, वो हमारे लिए बहुत सबसे ज़्यादा अहम है, महत्वपूर्ण है, और इसका जिक्र हमने अपने मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी स्टेटमेंट में भी किया है। तो हम चाहेंगे आप सबके माध्यम से कि ये जो हमारा प्रयास है उस प्रयास को आप सभी अपने श्रोताओं और अपने व्यूअर्स तक आप पहुंचाएं और इसको आप पब्लिसाइज करें ताकि लोग जो है इसका अधिक से अधिक लाभ उठा सकें। जो आपने बात कही कि कुछ एनपीए बढ़े हैं, मेरी ऐसी जानकारी नहीं है। कुल मिलाकर के जैसा कि मैंने अपने वक्तव्य में आज जो हमारा मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी का वक्तव्य था उसमें भी मैंने निवेदन किया कि कुल मिलाकर जो हमारे नेट एनपीए हैं, जो हमारे ग्रॉस एनपीए हैं, पूरे बैंकिंग क्षेत्र को जब हम देखते हैं 2.2% ग्रॉस, 0.5 से लेकर के 0.6% तक नेट एनपीए है, तो वो काफी संतोषजनक है और उसमें वृद्धि नहीं हुई है। यह संभव है कि कुछ एक क्षेत्रों में, जैसा कि आपने बताया एमएफआई में, अनसिक्योर्ड लोन्स में, वहां पे निश्चित रूप से कुछ एनपीए बीच में बढ़े थे, जिसकी वजह से हमने क्रेडिट जो वेट्स हैं उनके ऊपर में बढ़ाए थे। और उसके बाद में हमने ये भी देखा कि जो एक बहुत अधिक दर से वृद्धि हो रही थी क्रेडिट की, ऋणों की इन क्षेत्रों में, एमएफआई और अनसिक्योर्ड पर्सनल लोन्स में, उसमें उसके बाद में कमी भी आई है। तो कुल मिलाकर के लेकिन इसमें कोई चिंता की हमारे लिए कोई विषय नहीं है और हमारा ये बिल्कुल हर समय ये प्रयास रहता है कि स्पेशली जो जैसा हमने कहा बॉटम ऑफ पिरामिड, माइक्रो फाइनेंस जो लोग ले रहे हैं, छोटे छोटे 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 रुपए तक के जो लोन ले रहे हैं, और वो हमारे पूरे जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उसमें एक बहुत अहम और महत्वपूर्ण अंग है। लगभग 8 करोड़ लोग एमएफआईज, हालांकि अमाउंट संख्या में केवल 3 लाख और 75,000 करोड़, लगभग 4 लाख करोड़ रुपए के करीब ऋण हमने उनको दिया है। कुल मिलाकर 180 लाख करोड़ में से वो प्रतिशत में 2% ही लगता है, लेकिन लगभग 8 करोड़ लोग हैं, जो कि हमारे जो टोटल लोन अकाउंट्स हैं, या लोन अकाउंट्स 8 करोड़ हैं, व्यक्ति हो सकता है कम हो, क्योंकि एक व्यक्ति कई बार जो है 2-2 लोन भी ले लेता है। तो ये हमारे लिए एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण और बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट श्रेणी है और इसके लिए जो भी हमारे को करना है ताकि और इनका फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन हो, जैसे कैंप्स भी हम लगा रहे हैं, वो उसके ऊपर में हम कार्य करते रहेंगे। तीसरा आपका प्रश्न है म्यूल हंटर। म्यूल हंटर से निश्चित रूप से सबसे पहले मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि पिछले वर्ष जो हमने देखा जो फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स हुए हैं, वो अगर आप कुल अमाउंट में देखते हैं तो उसमें लगभग जितने हमारे वर्ष 23-24 में हुए थे उतने ही हुए हैं, कोई अधिक बहुत ज्यादा वृद्धि नहीं हुई है। तो जब आप प्रति ट्रांजैक्शन अगर उसको देखेंगे तो उसमें कमी आई है, तो ये एक हमारे लिए संतोष का विषय है। दूसरा, म्यूल हंटर का हमारा जो कार्यक्रम है वो काफी आगे बढ़ रहा है। 15 बैंक इसके अंदर हमारे लिए सम्मिलित हो गए हैं और निश्चित रूप से इससे भी इस दिशा में हमारे को लाभ मिलेगा।
बहुत धन्यवाद सर। नाउ विल आस्क विश्वनाथ नायर फ्रॉम एनडीटीवी प्रॉफिट टू आस्क हिज क्वेश्चन।
Thank you very much, sir. Governor, the conversation or the uncertainty, so-called uncertainty after the tariff policy measures that have been announced from the U.S., they're still continuing. The president there consistently makes statements about specific tariffs to India. A lot of economists have pointed out that monetary policy may not be the appropriate tool to support Indian businesses in such a scenario. Is there anything that the RBI can do or is prepared to do on top of, say, cutting rates?
On top of what are you hinting? See, we have taken a number of measures to support growth. It's not only on the monetary policy, liquidity side, even on the prudential regulation side, we have taken measures. Even on the FEMA side, I think we have taken, we have a draft now which will be put up, so as to ease doing businesses, to ease doing international trade, and we will continue to do whatever is required to be done In such a scenario, of course, trade negotiations are still continuing. We are hopeful that we will have, an amicable solution.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Hamsini from Money Control.
Hi. Hi. Governor, when we speak to banks, one of the largest fears that they have is with respect to growth. And they're also seeing a large part of their deposits moving out into equity and equity-related products, or rather, corporatization of deposits, as bankers call it, is a trend that they're increasingly seeing. In this context, how much room do you further envisage for transmission of rates? Because we've already seen a healthy transmission as far as lending is concerned. Numbers are in the ballpark of 71 on the lending side, and on deposits it's 87. We've had a 100 bips cut from February. Do you see further room for rates happening for banks? Considering that their balance sheets will also remain healthy, should they transmit more money, or should we look out for a longer pause in rate actions? Which of the two is more likely to play out?
No, see, that is for the monitor. I think I answered your question earlier. We will continue to look at the incoming data, and the Monetary Policy Committee meets every 2 months. We will consider all possible scenarios. And basis that we will take a decision. It will not be right on my part to preempt. Not only preempt, I mean, I really do not have, as of now, any answers. We will see whatever was to be done today has been done. So let's wait for another 2 months and see how the economy actually shapes up, how the monetary policy transmission is actually happening, how the real economy is responding to all these things, and then we will again, take up. As we have mentioned, we will not be found wanting in whatever is required to provide the right balance of price stability and economic growth for the development of our country.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll ask Mr. Ashish Agashe from PTI.
Thank you so much, sir. So with your statement today, and especially by making the point that food inflation is very volatile, are you probably, and your projections also, so are you sort of probably preparing for a longer pause on the rates front from here on, sir?
Same question asked in a different way, so I don't have anything more to add. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. Next we'll have Mr. Anup Roy.
All right, so that is the top brass at the Reserve Bank of India addressing the media after that monetary policy. Some of the additional takeaways is, the governor really indicating that the forecast for growth, currently at 6.5% unchanged, had already been revised previously, and that factors in some of the additional uncertainty, but the governor making it clear that, we're hopeful of an amicable outcome to these trade negotiations, and therefore not much has been factored in terms of a hit to India's GDP. So for now, it seems like a wait and watch mode. That is the governor defending the 6.5% forecast for FY26 on GDP. Other than that, no further cues on what the next rate action might be. The governor again reiterating they will remain data dependent. And as of now, in the first quarter of next financial year, you are going to see, CPI inch up above the 4% threshold. So we'll wait and watch out for more on that, and we'll discuss